Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be doing a mini review of Tiny Lands for the Nintendo Switch. Now first, just before we get started, I really want to thank Cubic Games for the review code, as well as all the codes they've given me over the past few days for some giveaways. But before we go on, I want to be very clear because maybe it wasn't in the previous videos. These are not sponsored videos. Cubic Games simply liked my coverage of their games over my last few videos, even before they reached out, and they offered me free download codes to my viewers. But these were offered, no strings attached. Basically, here are the codes. Do what you want with them, do some giveaways. It gives some publicity for us, and it's good for your channel as well, which obviously I accepted because generally most of their games are pretty decent offerings. So while we're on the topic, we're going to be doing one final giveaway for Tiny Lands in this video. I'm going to be giving away, once again, 5 copies of Tiny Lands. All you need to do to participate is drop a comment down below in the video. And don't worry if you entered in the other videos, this will be a third chance to pick up the game for some of you. And the only thing I'll be doing is I will be cross-referencing with the winners from the other videos to make sure that no one winds up with 2 copies. But now, with that out of the way, let's get to our mini review of Tiny Lands. And I'm calling this a mini review because a game like Tiny Lands isn't a game that we're going to go over the technical aspects, storyline, and whatnot. It's a game that I'm going to explain to you how it works, what its main purpose is, and either you're going to love it and find it useful, or you're just going to realize it's not a game for you, it's not in your wheelhouse, and you're going to move on. Now overall, I'll still be giving a verdict at the end of the video as I do in all my reviews, but ultimately this shouldn't be a very long video. Now as we get started, don't forget that if you do end up liking this content, please hit the like button, it's the best way to support the channel, and subscribe if you aren't already. Now Tiny Lands can be best described as a relaxing puzzle game, and I will put a very strong emphasis on the relaxing part, because as we're going to see a little bit later, they do a lot in this game to make sure that it's a perfect game for winding down at the end of a tough day. Now the basic premise of Tiny Lands is very simple. You're presented with 2 3D environments, and all you have to do is find the differences between the 2 environments. You have a counter at the bottom that lets you know how many differences there are to find overall in the complete environment. When you think you found a difference, all you need to do is move the cursor around, select that object or that element of the different environment, and press the A button. If you're right, the object will highlight gold. If you're wrong, you'll get a slight auditory warning letting you know that unfortunately that wasn't a difference between the 2 environments. Now what makes this game very different to other puzzle games of the sort is rather than dealing with a static image or a static environment, these are fully animated, and you can rotate the environments, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, and basically you need to do all this if you want to make sure to find all the differences. If all you do is stay on a static image, it is guaranteed you're not going to find the differences. Some can be hidden behind buildings, some can only be seen at certain angles, some could be hidden behind a tree or any other object in the environment. There is a whole second element to this game though that really contributes heavily to that relaxing portion that I mentioned earlier, and that is the music of the game that is very heavily influenced by white noise elements. Now for this next part of the review, if you're not already wearing earphones and you have access to a pair, I would strongly recommend you put them on. And by the way, when you start up the game, they give you the same suggestion. This game is best played in handheld mode with a pair of earphones on your head. And what I'm going to do is I just want to give you a slight sample of the music that is included within the game. So for the next 10 to 15 seconds, there won't be any other noise than the background noise from the game, the normal one you get while you're playing. Now, that was only a very small sample of the music that's played during the game. And that's probably the hardest part to communicate in this mini review. It's that this game is all about the mood it puts you in when you're playing it. Number one, you are strongly focused on the environments, and you have to have pinpoint precision to indicate what the differences are between the different environments. You basically are so focused on the environments to find the differences and surrounded by that white noise influenced music that it almost puts you into a sort of trance after 10 to 15 minutes. And I personally have made it almost part of my nighttime routine to play a couple of levels before going to bed and really wind myself down in a relaxing mood. Now, it might not work for everyone out there, but I do think that it will work for a lot of people, especially if you're putting your attention solely on the game while you're playing, and like I said earlier, you're playing with a set of earphones on your head. Now, last few things that I just want to go over quickly before we actually get to the verdict. First, if you think you can find all the differences by just clicking everywhere on the screen and eventually finding all the differences, I promise you it is pretty much impossible in this game, and it'll probably take you longer, even if it would work, than actually trying to find the differences yourself. Now, why? Because you have to be so precise in selecting the difference on the map that it is almost impossible to basically click anywhere and figure out those differences. Secondly, if you're wondering how progression is handled in the game, well, it's simply at the beginning you have one type of environment, which is a heavily First Nations influenced environment, and as you start finding differences on each and every map, you're accorded stars for each difference you find. After that, you can actually spend those stars to unlock new biomes. Each new biome costs 25 stars, and it actually takes up all your stars to purchase them. What that means is when you purchase a new biome, like let's say the beach type environment, well, if you want to unlock another biome after that, you're going to have to accumulate another 25 stars. So trust me, content-wise, before you actually manage to find all the differences in all the maps, because some of these differences are very, very challenging. Don't think that these are easy differences to find. It can go so far as just the tiny color to one little flower somewhere in the scene. I do think that you have quite a few hours of content here for the game. And price-wise, it is pretty fair. Its normal price is $5.99 on the eShop. Currently, if you're using the coloring book trick, you can actually pick up the game for only $3.99. I do think that Cubic Games is offering it at a very fair price, content-wise and overall for the quality of the game. So now, my verdict for Tinylands. If this is the first time that you're watching one of my videos, you can look down below, but I use general comments. I don't use numerical scores to give the ratings on my games, and those comments are basically my suggestion on picking up the game or not. Now, my official verdict for this game is going to be a definite pickup. It actually really surprised me, this game, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. But as I said earlier, this is a verdict that will be for someone that is going to appreciate a puzzle game for winding down at the end of a day. If you're not shopping for that kind of game right now, I don't think Tinylands is going to change your opinion. It might, because it is one of those games, like I said, that took me by surprise. But if you're not shopping for that, it probably won't be a definite pickup in your book. So that was pretty much it for my mini review of Tinylands. If you pick up the game, let me know if you appreciate it or not. Also, don't forget that if you want to participate in this final giveaway for 5 copies of Tinylands, to drop your comment in the video down below. Also, quick shout out to thank my channel supporters. We now have memberships open and we already have some people signing up. Lastly, on the way out, don't forget that, as I said earlier, if you do like this content, hit the like button, subscribe if you aren't already. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when all my future content comes out. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video.